Hi everybody. I'm filming from my car, which means that I left the house. And I'm going to be talking about misophonia today. This is probably going to be my first video, and I've set a timer because the first time I did this, I talked for 41 minutes, and it was like an ADHD blowout on real. Could not stay focused. So I made myself an outline. Woo! And let's get started. For those of you who don't know, misophonia is literally the hatred of sound. And that doesn't mean, all sound, obviously. It means stuff that you may be familiar with, you or your friends, family, whatever, like eating noises or any kind of mouth noises, humming, swallowing, chewing, those kind of things. For me, eating sounds and whistling probably tie for number one. Eating sounds started when I was a kid. I didn't have a name for any of this until about 6 or 8 years ago when a coworker actually, I don't know if she was researching, whatever, but she looked it up and sent me the definition, which I was kind of floored, honestly, because I didn't realize that it actually had a name. I'd been told since I was a kid that I am just too sensitive. Those are air quotes, right? Too sensitive, which it's pretty irritating to hear. I actually hadn't heard it for years, and then someone that I'd been staying with a few weeks ago, I guess, mentioned it again, and it's just really insulting, and it's hard to be an HSP or a highly sensitive person in a world that doesn't seem to have any time for things that cause you physical pain or emotional pain or mental pain or whatever. So eating sounds, whistling, humming for me anyway. I can't think of a lot of others at the moment. I probably should have made a longer list than those three. Pen clicking is a big one for me as well. A lot of it is just stuff that people do randomly, not even thinking about it. Like, I'll be at home and I don't know, I'll start whistling, or I'll take a sip of tea and, afterwards, and it's just like automatic stuff, but to the, I don't know what you call it, the mesophonic brain, I guess, it's actual physical pain. And that's what makes it so very upsetting, at least for me, because I would imagine it feels sort of like an ice pick to the middle of your brain. So it's sort of like one of those itches that you can't quite scratch. It's there's no balm. It's a psychological condition with no cure. The closest thing that I found to a cure would be the time that I took Xanax. And, there's the joke already or the joke in itself, because, you take a Xanax, you probably don't care about a whole lot of stuff. But I did notice that I'd been sitting next to a coworker at some kind of a work event and, had to sit with her. And she was making like my top 5 or 10 bad noises. So whistling, she was clicking something, she was tapping on the table, she was tapping her foot, all kinds of movement and sound that basically I end up sounding, I think, like a crabby old lady, where it's just like those noises aren't necessary. And it's not that I don't do the same kinds of things, because I'll find myself, whatever, anxiety, boredom, shaking my foot, tapping something, whatever. But I try to be a lot more conscious, or I've become anyway a lot more conscious in the past, 6, 8 years, or especially in the past couple of years, because there are things that I might do that bother people. Like, since I'm a big girl and I tend to have a fear, worry, anxiety, whatever, that I scare people, which that might sound kind of weird, but I've walked towards people before, and I think with the natural downturn to my mouth, the not smiling, the whatever, I apparently look like I'm going to kill you. So I've seen fear in people's eyes, and that's pretty upsetting, So I tend, if I'm walking behind somebody and I'm walking softly or whatever, I don't wear like heels, so I can't make that kind of noise. I'll jingle my keys so that somebody knows there's someone behind them. But I've made myself stop doing those kind of things because that sound doesn't bother me. But 15 years ago, whistling didn't even register on my radar at all. like a friend brought it to my attention, and I was sort of like, oh, he's whistling, and now it's just, when I hear it, I believe the pain, the brain pain, and my automatic reaction, I believe they happen at the exact same time, because I have usually said something not very kind out loud before I even register what's irritating me. Part of that could be a filter with being over 40. I don't know. Part of it is just, I don't know. I'd honestly like to be in some kind of a study where they can, hook up the electrodes and the neutrons and all that kind of stuff, and get an idea of what exactly lights up, or I don't know, goes dark in my brain. The little red rage, because it's so automatic that I don't like feeling out of control, I guess, but I'll generally mutter, something like that, or shut the fuck up, or there's going to be a lot of swearing on this video channel, whatever, just FYI. And then I find that misophonia connects to other parts of me that I'm sensitive about. I feel like it connects to race. Sorry, my hands hurt. Because I never want to be perceived, as I believe I have been in the past, as an angry black woman. Like I said, a couple minutes ago about the about people looking scared. I've seen people just sort of, I can't even describe what the look of worry on their face, I guess, that I've seen people, if I have any kind of an outburst. Honestly, it means that I'm a passionate person. It means that something has made me, I don't know, it's gotten under my skin. It's something that needs to be commented on. It's the average kind of outburst that I think anybody would have about something that irritates you, that's not stopping, or I don't know, I'm starting to ramble, but the whole point is that I don't like that perception, because even though I have things that I'm angry about, and I deal with depression and anxiety and OCD, and apparently now ADHD, I just keep adding all the initialisms to myself. I don't want to be perceived as some kind of a threat or a problem, or I've been in a couple of jobs where I had to sit down and talk to managers about my attitude, and a lot of that sounds like, I don't know, we don't know how to handle you. I don't know. I can't even think of the right phrase without probably getting just horribly racist. I also find that misophonia, the kind of thing, it connects to my weight, in that I don't like to rock the boat. I don't like to make a fuss. I find that because I am, I'm half white, but so I'm perceived as black by pretty much everybody. The state, people I don't talk to anymore who would say, they would say black, I would say biracial, they would say whatever, we don't talk anymore. My mom is black, my dad is white, just to get that out there. Oh, my dad thinks he's black, but he's not. That's a long story. Starting to ramble again. I guess I don't like, even though I'm tall, even though I have friends who are taller than I am. I'm 5'9", so I'm taller than a lot of women. I used to have much, much, much more hair, like down to my shoulders, and kind of a big old crown of hair. Like I said, 3 or 4 times a big girl. So I don't feel that there's really any way that I blend. And sometimes that's all I want to do, is just be as invisible as being fat makes me, if that makes any sense. I feel like I can sort of drift through different situations, and because being fat is discounted, it's, I'm lazy, I've let myself go, I'm a glutton, I'm always eating, I'm gonna steal your food, as I said when I was a kid, I'm gonna sit on you, just all this kind of stuff. I don't like to draw more attention to myself. So if I have an outburst based on some kind of misophonic sound, it's just all really tied up, I guess, together. And honestly, that could just be a whole lot of anxiety talking. It could be my perception, which, that's what it's going to be. Or it could just be, it's one of the things, I hope it's not true. I guess we'll put it that way. I hope that the worst things that I think about myself, and lately they have been many, and they have been loud, and it's been very tiring. I think the thing about anxiety, you never want to know that what you're thinking about yourself, someone else actually confirms. Like, I'm horrible and people don't like me, and they say, "Yep," or there's silence or whatever it is. So I put on a timer, so I've got about 5 minutes to go or left. So misophonia, I discovered, at least for me, is getting worse as I get older. Like I said, whistling didn't used to bother me, and now it does tremendously. I don't know what other noises I might add on as we go. Honestly, I hope there are no more. But what I do like is that it's becoming a lot more known, especially by its name. Like I saw not too recently a GIF that featured Kelly Ripa, and she was talking about misophonia in the clip from, I guess, her talk show, whatever it's called. I think it's something with Kelly, whatever. So I like that it's got, even though it's celebrities, whatever, I like that it's got some power, if you will, behind it, so that more people will hear about it and will know that it's a condition. It's not something that I can stop. It's affected me since I was a kid. For most of my childhood, it was just eating noises. And then, got into, I think it was until I started working in an open office, the kind of thing where it's a big conference room and nothing but tables and 4 to 6 people per table with their laptops out, kind of the new, I don't know, millennial way of working, that without the barriers, like without cubicles or without offices, everybody's noises are there. So a job that I took in 2011, I think really made a lot of things develop, bloom, whatever you want to call it. So it's too bad, because once it's out of the box, you can't get it back in, or at least I can't. The best thing I can do is put on headphones, put on noise muffling headphones, leave the room. The farther away I can get from it, the better, obviously, which made it a problem when I was at an old job and a guy walked through this, gallery of rooms, and he would whistle, and it would just bounce off these 37-foot ceiling, or 37-foot walls or whatever, and was so loud and inescapable, and he knew that it bothered me, and he still did it. So it's that kind of inconsideration that gets added to something that's already something that is already terrible. And I found that probably, like with most anything, if you're a person that I don't like, it's going to make it worse. And if you're a person I love, or friend, or whatever, I'll probably make like a kind of joke about it, but I'll still leave. Like, my very, very best friends could sit, at a table, and if someone starts eating chips, I'm out. Like, I've kind of joked that whistling or eating something, they're the fastest way to get rid of me. So if you don't want me around, then get out a bag of Doritos, bitch, and I'll be gone. So that's I'm looking at my outline. That's a brief, I guess, intro to how it is for me with living with misophonia. I don't like to say things like I'm suffering from misophonia, suffering from depression, anxiety. I live with them, and they're not the best roommates at all. But I learned to manage, and hopefully someday I'll convince some doctor to give me a prescription for a Xanax, or I don't know, call it a chill pill, call it vitamin C, I don't care what you call it, but anything that takes away the horrible stabbing pain in the head of the noise. So anyway, I'm sure more later. Almost out of time, so I hope you enjoyed this brief intro into why I'm crazy,